Well, moving into our next news story of the day, we got Apple in here. And no, it's not about the new iPad or new MacBook Pro or hell, that new Apple Watch is probably coming out in September, whatever it may be. Workers at Apple Corporation, like that cylinder, that sphere that you see up there in California. Well, Apple workers are citing fear of company becoming whiter and environmental concerns among reasons not to show up to work. I mean, it's so hard to say without laughing, you guys. Understand that I'm trying to like say it, and in my mind, I'm hysterically just laughing. Even sitting in front of the camera, I'm trying not to laugh. I'm doing my darnest. So much so, I literally sweat because I'm trying to hold in my laughter all the time. So earlier this month, Apple CEO Tim Cook and the company's senior vice president of software engineering reportedly sent out memos to their employees indicating that as of September 5th, workers in the Bay Area, in other words, near the company's headquarters in Santa Clara County, would be expected to turn up to the office 3 days a week. Cook noted that in-person collaboration is essential to Apple culture. We all know every company has a culture. Google, whether you're in a family firm or even a large corporation like this, they all have their own culture that they want to develop. And if this is what the CEO wants, if this is what your boss wants, the boss gets, okay? It's not one of those things that like, well, let's start a petition like they did. Let's start doing this whole thing, getting signatures. Your boss says to come into work. Your ass is going into work. And what's crazy is we've created such a culture, the left, the progressive left, where they're like, we're going to complain and we're going to do this whole shenanigans when our boss is telling us to do something. Well, we know better. What the hell does our boss know? I mean, it's crazy. If you don't want to go into work and you're not willing to go in 3 days a week, just go find somewhere else to work. That's my theory. Get the hell out. There's plenty of people that can do your job. Plenty of people. This news was not well received by a number of Apple workers, some of whom believe a return to work will make Apple whiter. Yes, like skin color, whiter, and impact the environment. Can you just imagine if a white person said, oh, well, the company's going to be darker? Just put yourself in that situation. Do you think people would lose their minds? But because they're talking about white people, it's completely okay. We've seen such a reversal of racism, or at least discrimination, where it's like whenever somebody says something about white people, it's okay. It's fine because the white man did all these crazy things in the past. So because of those injustices in the past, those living in current times have to pay the price for it. So it's okay if somebody's racist against white people, but it's not okay in the reversal. Racism's not okay anywhere. So it's amazing they get away with this type of language. And the corporation's allowing them theoretically to get away with this language in some part, right? Because look, whoever came up with that word of Apple being whiter, like they're just okay with it. Like, oh, whatever, it's fine. We'll kind of we'll work around your guys' schedules. Don't bother coming in. Check this out. Apple Together, an internal employee advocacy group, which touts itself as a global solidarity union made up of workers from all parts of Apple organization for a say in our workspace, started a petition which presently has hundreds of signatures with the aim of hitting 500 altogether. I mean, has anybody seen how big Apple's headquarters is? 500 people? That's like the janitorial staff. Are you kidding me? That's like the gardeners. That's nobody. Another petition was created by Apple Together site, which has allegedly received, now this is kind of significant, has allegedly received additional signatures from both current and former Apple employees in excess of 1,400. Now, is that number significant? Yes, but look at former Apple employees. So say you got an employee that had a tough time at Apple, didn't really jive with the culture or the company or whatever it may be, is probably more willing to sign this type of thing because they're not working there anymore compared to an actual current employer that might be fearful of losing their job. I wouldn't be signing this. I would be going into work because I need to pay my bills. I need to increase that 401k. I need to do something. But you got these people complaining about whiteness and environmental stuff. Where was all this when you signed up for the company in the first place? Why were you not complaining about it then? Or are you just willing to hop on the bandwagon because you needed a job? And now that you have the job and you've been having the perks of working at home, now you want to complain about it. The petition claims that Apple's leadership teams have failed to consider the unique demands of each job role, as well as, get this, the diversity of individuals. They failed to consider, just randomly. You have one of the most leftist, at least progressive leftist companies in the entire United States that deals with diversity, that is willing to censor people. I mean, literally conservatives try to start their own platform. And Apple, speaking of Parler, was like, you know what? We don't agree with this. We're going to stick with Twitter. And we're not even going to bother putting you on our app store because you don't really meet our terms of service. Because you're not going to sit there and pick and choose on who you want to censor and ban from your app. So they're trying to tell us here, which I was going to say, don't tell me that the diversity of individuals and they're not sitting there and failing to basically have the unique demands of each job role. Does anybody believe that? The petitioner and their co-signers demand that Apple allows each of us to work directly with our immediate manager to figure out what kind of flexible work arrangements are best for each of us and for Apple. It's amazing how they're turning into most of this like socialized type of environment where it's the workers that are going to dictate what the company wants and what the company does. It's not the heads of the company and the executives. It's not the bosses that are going to dictate what the employees do. It's the employees that are going to dictate what they want to do, which is almost a form of a socialized environment in terms of the workforce. It's crazy that they're getting away with this stuff. I mean, if I was a boss, your ass would be fired so fast. I tell your ass to come in, you're coming in. Additionally, they demand that their work arrangements should not require higher level approvals, complex procedures, or providing private information. So it's not good enough that they're trying to push this like, well, we're going to take a step further other than working with our direct managers to make sure that we're in the best situation possible. And so is the company. We're going to take it a step further and we want work arrangements as well. You guys, tell me if any of you would mess with your company by doing all this stuff, putting your name down on a petition, right? Basically giving yourself a red flag, telling your boss what's going to work best for you and supposedly his or her company. Would any of you ever think about doing that? We live in different times, I guess, because I would never. Apple Together suggests on its site that the requirement to report to the office on Tuesdays and Thursdays, along with an additional day selected on the basis of what works best for a worker's individual team, is almost no flexibility at all. What? The fact that you get to only have to go in 3 days a week is I think that's pretty damn nice to me. Rather than saying, hey, you need to come on all 5 days right off the bat, which they could do, but no, they're going to complain about having to go into work 3 days a week. Apple Together cites safety, health, and environmental considerations and just plain being happier and more productive amongst its reasons. I'm so sorry. It's so hard. Apple Together cites safety, health, and environmental considerations and just plain being happier and more productive among its reasons for rejecting the summons back to Apple's $5 billion headquarters in Cupertino, California, which cites 175 acres. It's just like little kids are writing this like, hey, it's like a bunch of ASB or running for senior class president and going, we should cut class time down to 1 hour a day because it would make us happier, more productive. In actuality, it wouldn't. These are adults. These are literally adults. There's also demographic reasoning behind the petitioner's rejection of the proposed hybrid work model. Requiring everyone to relocate to the office will change the makeup of our workforce. It will make Apple younger, wider, more male-dominated, more neuronormative. I honest to God don't even know what that means. That's the first time I'm ever hearing it. More able-bodied, which I heard that one before with the Home Depot thing, which we got a lot of subscribers from that as well. Finally heard able-bodied before. But you gotta love this. I mean, which side of the aisle do you guys think these people are signing this petition land on, right? Apple, younger, white, more male dominated. Do you think these are these feminists, right? These modern day feminists, these progressive leftists. I mean, able-bodied, neuronormative. Unbelievable. Well, check this out. Apple's workforce is presently 65% male and basically 35% female, 44% white, 28% Asian, 15% Hispanic, 9% black. Its employees are most likely to be members of the Democrat Party. Shocker. And according to Zippa, the average employee makes about $127,000. You're willing to give about $127K for complaining that you have to go into work 3 days a week, and 2 days you get to work from home. Crazy. Just absolutely crazy. You have Elon Musk writing, anyone who wishes to do remote working must be in the office for a minimum, and I mean a minimum of 40 hours per week, or depart Tesla. So if you recall, Tesla a while back jumped in the mix and saying, look, we're bringing people back into the office. That's what we built it for. That's what I want as the boss, as the head honcho. If you're not willing to do it, then just leave. Or in other words, just be fired. But he's giving you the option to just resign yourself if you're not going to come in. So like I said, I'll keep you up to date here because I'm curious if Apple is just going to fire these people for doing what they're doing. Because if you don't show up, It's subordination, folks. You're out. You're gone. It's wrong. It's like Jim Acosta, CNN. They're going to be Brian Steltered. They're going to be ousted. That's what's going on at Apple. Just crazy news. I hope you enjoyed that clip from the Bald Brad Show. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you can stay up to date on all our future content.